On this vote, the yeas are 311, the nays are 114, with 2 recorded as present. 2/3 voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted, and a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. The clerk will notify the governor of the state of New York of the action of the House. Under Clause 5D of Rule 20, the chair announces to the House that in light of the expulsion of the gentleman from New York, Mr. Santos, the whole number of the House is now 434.
And with that, it is official. The MAGA Republican Congressmember George Santos has been expelled. The vote 311 to 114. 105 Republicans voted yes. The majority of House Republicans voted to keep Santos in office, with the support of Democrats and some other Republicans. However, the 2/3 needed for expulsion was achieved, and George Santos is no longer a member of Congress. You heard that right there from MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. It is worth noting that the entire leadership of the Republican Party in the House of Representatives, including MAGA Mike Johnson, Steve Scalise, Elise Stefanik, Emmer, they all voted against expulsion. I want you to think about that. All of the GOP leadership voted against expulsion. Nonetheless, George Santos was officially expelled. I want to show you this moment right here where George Santos was leaving the House of Representatives after the expulsion vote took place. Play the clip.
As we're live outside Congress now.
Do you have anything to say to your constituents, George Santos?
Okay.
Mr. Santos?
What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you?
We're reporters behind you.
Oh, get out of the road. Get away from the vehicle. Get away. That's what's happening. You need to pull out.
So it began in November of last year. George Santos elected. This trail of lies followed him around. The evidence mounted against him. And here at 11 o'clock Eastern.
Over the past 24 hours, there was debate on the expulsion of George Santos. As noted, the majority of Republicans voted to keep George Santos, despite the fact that he had many criminal charges, 23 criminal charges against him pending, although it should be noted that Donald Trump, the GOP frontrunner, has 91 charges against him pending by the Department of Justice. A ethics report came out confirming the criminal allegations against George Santos, showing that he lied about everything in his entire life, basically turned his campaign into a criminal cartel, where he was like actually stealing money and skimming credit cards of people, including his own Republican colleagues. Think about that. He was like stealing the credit card numbers of his Republican colleagues, and the Republican leadership still was voting for him to stay. Earlier in the day, for example, this is from Max Miller, the Republican who put a letter out to the other Republicans saying that George Santos had stolen from him, had stolen his credit card information, and that this may be an experience that others have had as well. Max Miller wrote the following: colleagues, late yesterday on the floor, I alluded to a personal impact of Santos's conduct. Earlier this year, I learned that Santos's campaign had charged my personal credit card and the personal card of my mother for contribution amounts that exceeded FEC limits. Neither my mother nor I approved these charges or were aware of them. We have spent tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees and the resulting follow-up. I've seen a list of roughly 400 other people to whom Santos's campaign allegedly did this. I alluded to this on the floor yesterday. Santos's campaign also made phony loans, like not even actually making the loans, just reported loans from George Santos to his campaign, which simply did not exist. And all of that was just the tip of the iceberg of George Santos's crime. George Santos's treasurer, his other top campaign aide, have already pled guilty in criminal cases filed against them by the Department of Justice. This is MAGA Republican Tim Burchett before the vote, and when he was asked why he was not going to vote to expel George Santos, he said it's because we are all a bunch of sinners. Play this clip.
Don't you have any concerns about his conduct? I mean, all the allegations, the criminal charges, he's admitted to lying about so much of his life. I mean, why should he be walking around here going to classified briefings and the like?
To say that anybody in Congress can cast stones, I mean, we're a bunch of sinners, and that's basically what we all are.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Congressman.
Do you remember your first holiday ever? Probably not, but I bet your parents do. And they have the pictures to prove it. Probably a lot of pictures to prove it. But even if they have one or two on the wall, there's a ton they haven't seen in years. You can put all those amazing childhood holiday photos in a place where your parents can actually see them. An Aura digital frame. Look, there's sort of a famous photo in my family. Every year at Thanksgiving, when I was 3 and 4, we'd go to my grandparents' house on Long Island. It was near my birthday a few days after Thanksgiving, and there's this amazing photo of me, my mom, a birthday cake, and a turkey on Thanksgiving. It was so great, people used it at my 40th birthday party. But look, I haven't seen it since. And what do you do with it? Think Aura Frames. Aura Frames was named the #1 digital frame by Wirecutter, The Strategist, and Wired. And it doesn't have to be just your pictures. In the app, you can add other members so your siblings and cousins and friends can all upload their own photos too. There's unlimited storage, so you don't even have to fight over it. Visit auraframes.com/legalaf today and get $30 off their best-selling frames. These frames sell out quickly, though, so get yours before they're gone. That's AURA, frames.com/legalaf. Use promo code LEGALAF to get $30 off their best-selling frame. Terms and conditions apply.
And throughout the day and throughout the debate before the expulsion vote, you had Republicans pointing the finger at Republicans. I just mentioned Max Miller, member of Congress. Here's Congressmember Miller saying that George Santos is a crook, and then George Santos says Miller is a woman beater. Play this clip.
I myself have been a victim of George Santos and as well as other members of Congress in terms of defrauding through public donations. I had received an ethics complaint from the FEC, which I had to spend tens of thousands to defend myself. You, sir, are a crook. I know I should direct my comments to the chair. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired. Gentleman from New York, Mr. Santos is recognized.
I'd like to move to have the gentleman from Ohio's words stricken from the record, please.
Gentleman's request is not timely, but the chair will remind all members to direct their remarks to the chair and not to others.
Gentleman's request is not timely, but I would remind members to direct their remarks to the chair. Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, hypocrisy, as I mentioned. My colleague wants to come up here, call me a crook. Same colleague who's accused of being a woman beater. Are we really going to ignore the facts that we all have passed and we all have the media coming out against us on a daily basis?
And here's Matt Gaetz, who opposed the expulsion of George Santos, saying that the George Santos situation is similar to another Republican who is a member of Congress, Duncan Hunter, who also allegedly or was convicted of stealing money and then gave the money to various lovers. I mean, listen, the Republican Party, this is like pure madness. Watch Matt Gaetz.
It was a procedural double bind that shouldn't be held against Mr. Santos as some sort of adverse inference. Let's also talk about this precedent. The fact pattern as to Mr. Santos is remarkably similar to the fact pattern of former Representative Duncan Hunter. Duncan Hunter used campaign money on girlfriends and trips and home improvements and all sorts of personal lavishes. He was indicted for those crimes and continued to serve in Congress. He pled guilty to a number of those crimes and continued to serve in Congress. He was in Congress for like an additional pay period after having pled guilty to the very same things that Mr. Santos has been indicted for.
And here is Democratic Congress member Robert Garcia talking just about the importance of honesty, a healthy democracy, how truth and justice, how those things should matter. Play the clip.
Truth and justice are crucial components of a healthy and strong democracy. It speaks to the public trust we hold and the dignity of this institution. As a freshman member of Congress, I take the oath very seriously. I love this country deeply, and we should all have intentions to defend it. That's why I rise today to defend the integrity of the House and to support the expulsion of Representative Santos. I wish no personal harm to the representative from New York, and I imagine this is a difficult moment for him and for the institution. But I believe strongly in his actions, and he must be held accountable for them, as well as his lies. He fabricated his qualifications, his background, lied to the FEC, and unemployment fraud. That's why he's under a serious 23-count indictment. The bipartisan report is out. It's damning. It should convince all members to vote for this expulsion. People want better from Congress. They want good and ethical government, and they deserve the truth. I once again ask the representative from New York to resign and save himself and the country from this vote. And if not, I encourage a yes vote to restore integrity to the body and to expel Representative Santos. I yield back.
And finally, as we reflect on the expulsion vote of George Santos, now that George Santos has been officially removed as a member of Congress by that 311 to 114 vote, I do not want to forget what MAGA Republicans, the former MAGA Republican Speaker of the House, spineless Kevin McCarthy, had to say a few months ago when many were calling for George Santos to be removed. And McCarthy said that he was upset that Santos did not have more power than President Biden. Here, play the clip.
Mr. Speaker, first, a very quick question. Who has more power, Joe Biden or George Santos?
Well, right now, I think it is the president, Joe Biden, unfortunately.
So how much?
Well, there you have it, folks. Big news right here on the MeidasTouch Network. George Santos, MAGA Republican fraud, which is one of the same things, has been officially removed. The Democrats and a group of Republicans, 104, a group of Republicans and Democrats joined together to vote yes. 105 voted yes. The majority of Republicans voted no. They wanted to keep Santos in office. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.